California's #1 news. This is ABC 30 Action News, live at 5.
It's day 2 of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Former President Donald Trump received a raucous ovation last night from the party faithful, just days after a would-be assassin's bullet grazed his right ear. And thanks for joining us tonight for Action News Live at 5. Good evening to you. I'm Warren Armstrong.
And I'm Graciela Moreno. Yesterday, former President Donald Trump surprised attendees with his dramatic appearance and the announcement that he had selected Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate.
ABC's Mary Alice Parks is inside the convention hall in Milwaukee with what to expect tonight and President Biden's return to the campaign trail in Nevada.
Yeah, Warren and Graciela, the Republican Party says the focus of the convention today is make America safe again. This convention still buzzing about having seen the former president as well as Trump's running mate pick. Senator Vance is largely seen as a confident pick, fully in line with the MAGA and America First movement. Cheers as former President Donald Trump made a dramatic entrance to his party's convention in Milwaukee. Ear bandaged, wounded from that assassination attempt. Trump's newly minted running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, returning to the Pfizer Forum this afternoon. Vance had in 2016 called Trump dangerous and unfit, but in the Senate now, a fierce defender of the former president. This year telling our George Stephanopoulos had he been the vice president, he would not have certified the 2020 election results, despite Joe Biden's clear win. He would have let Congress decide.
If I had been vice president, I would have told the states like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and so many others that we needed to have multiple slates of electors, and I think the U.S. Congress should have fought over it from there.
The first night of the convention, an appeal to Democrats' base. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien addressing Republicans, the first boss from the powerful union to do so.
Today, the Teamsters are here to say we are not beholden to anyone or any party.
Democrats pushing back. The head of the AFL-CIO in Milwaukee, alongside Democratic leaders, calling Biden the most pro-union president in history.
Will my life be better when Trump lets my company force me to work overtime without overtime pay?
President Biden back on the campaign trail in Nevada.
Of course, here's what he thinks of black jobs. I love this phrase, black jobs. Tells a lot about the man and about his character. Folks, I know what a black job is. It's the Vice President of the United States. She's not only a great Vice President, she could be President of the United States.
And tonight we're expecting to hear from some of Trump's former opponents, including Nikki Haley, the party clearly wanting to send a message that it is unified around former President Trump. In Milwaukee, Mary Alice Parks, ABC 30 Action News.